All right, guys, this is Malkiel and Jose with OC Poolscapes. Welcome to our podcast number 2. Número 2.
All right, so we usually try to come up with a topic ourselves, but we're not really good at it. So we're listening to our audience this time. I believe it's Instagram, right? They want us to talk a little bit about our process and what makes us unique or successful as a pool contractor. And I think that mostly starts with the design. It's something that we take very seriously.
Very seriously.
Very seriously. Most contractors have some type of process, where they come up with plans and they draw something up and that's what they build. For us, we take that to a little bit of a higher level. We really pride ourselves in being a design build firm and also somewhat of a, custom boutique builder. So we have a process to take our customer through that really ends up with a very nice product. It's amazing that we have such talented, skilled workers and that, we pick nice materials, but it all starts with how we're able to integrate the customer's needs into a design. So pretty much industry standard now, I would say, Malkiel, is the 3D software, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of
You shouldn't be hand drawing by now.
Yeah, there's not a lot of high caliber builders.
Come on, guys, it's 2022. Everything's technological now.
There's not a lot of high caliber builders that are still, going ahead and drawing it by hand. I mean, there are some artists still left that do that, but the majority of us want to use like a really high-end rendering software that allows us to present everything, right?
Yeah, so it makes it easier for the customer or the buyer to understand what they're getting.
Yeah.
And then it also makes it easier if for mistakes do not happen. You know what I mean? So you can always be really specific on our designs and show where a tile's going, where, and I mean just an idea of how the tile's gonna look like, right? Or the decking, or where does it stop, where does it end, where does the turf start, or where does it end? So I think design software is really important, especially these days, dude.
So we'll take you guys a little bit through that process and explain to you why we think we have a really good formula. So the first thing that we do is we always try to meet our customers on site.
We listen to the customers.
Yes, we do listen.
That's our formula.
So we meet them on site and we kind of get to know them a little bit. Technically, we could do this without really understanding them as people or their situation, their family, setup.
Because everybody's different, right? So, I mean, you have the single guys. Let's start with them. Mm-hmm. You have the single girls. We have the couples that don't have kids yet. We have the couples with a pet. You have the couples with kids. You have the kids that are older. You have the kids that are younger. So every customer has different needs.
Exactly.
And that's where we try to help. I mean, what's the purpose of the pool? Is it partying? Is it enjoying it with the family? Is it, are you guys about to retire and just want to chill at the spa? What's important to the customer? So we have to focus on that first.
So getting to understand how the pool's going to be used is very important. Believe it or not, there's a million different concepts for pools. Like you have your pools for just lounging, your cocktail pools, and then you have like a pool that's smaller and it has no spa. The spools.
We've built pools for pets.
We build pools just for pets.
For ducks.
We've also built pools that are very shallow, that they're just designed to play sports in. There's a million different uses. Obviously your traditional diving, or your pools that are going to be more for lane swimming.
We have customers that are swimmers, that are athletes. And they want the lap. You remember that pool we did in San Juan? It was 100 feet long.
100 foot long, yeah.
It was 100 foot long and it wasn't very wide. I think it was 12 feet.
12 feet.
He just wanted 2 lanes.
2 lanes.
So yeah, I mean, that's how depends on the person.
So what we do is we take the customer's needs, and usually when we're in the backyard, we try to paint the picture, show them our vision, kind of situate everything so that they know what's coming up. So behind the scenes, what they don't see us do is obviously, take photos, measurements, but we try to replicate the entire area. We get really heavy into the detail. The architectural style of the house is one of the biggest driving forces for the design, right? We want to incorporate like the material elements of the house, and we want to make sure it's all cohesive. So that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, and we always advise the customer. We always tell them, hey, if you have a modern farmhouse house, you want to go with that theme, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't want to look like we added the pool to the house. We want it to look like it blends with the house, and everything just flows really good from the front yard to the backyard. That's our goal every time. From the front yard to the backyard, we're doing the whole thing. We want to make sure that everything flows really well, and it doesn't look like an afterthought. Yeah.
So that's a really big thing, right? Especially where we're situated. We have a lot of coastal design, but we're also near the mountains. We're also near the rolling hills. So we have all types of different architectural styles in these different communities. We have a lot of, Mediterranean style architecture. And what we try to do is we try to steer the customer into something that's going to blend in with the house, but also incorporate the elements that they want. So that's something that we're really good at behind the scenes.
I would say that that's first is kind of like understanding our customer.
Yeah.
Second, it's what's important, right? So obviously everybody has a budget. I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos, you still have a budget.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody has an unlimited budget. So we always want to understand like what are the important things in this project. Mm-hmm. What are your must-haves? Let's just call it that. Do you need a spa? Do you need a fire pit? Do you need a barbecue? Do you need just whatever it is? Can the barbecue go? And but the fire pit is a must-have. It's a fire pit can go, but you have to have that barbecue. So we want to incorporate what the needs are, and with the budget that the customer has. Mm-hmm. And I would say that's kind of like the next phase of our conversations with our customers when we meet them for the first time.
Yeah.
And just making sure that everything flows really well. We're incorporating everything on the design, and we're trying to be realistic with the budget to where we're at, mm-hmm. right? So that's a really important subject. Difficult to touch or difficult to ask a customer, hey, what's your budget? How much money do you have? But very important, Kind of annoying that we have to talk about it sometimes, or scary. Not annoying, just more scary. Because not a lot of people like to talk about money the first time they meet you. But it's important for us to always know what type of budget we're working with, so we can see if we're being realistic, and if it can be done. You know what I mean? Because if you told me you have $10,000, but you want a pool, spa, deck, a patio cover, and a fire pit, I'm gonna tell you, dude, I'm sorry, it's impossible. But we always want to work with the customer and feed their needs, and and obviously make it flow with the whole backyard.
So one of the things that makes us different and a little bit better in that sense is that there are a lot of super talented architects. There are a lot of just landscape designers who are amazing, and they do beautiful work.
Hi, Rosemary.
So one of the things that makes us kind of unique is that we also are the builder. So we're able to
By the way, let me so people can understand. Rosemary is a landscape architect that gives us her work or her project, and she's amazing. She's a really talented designer.
So big shout out. We love Rosemary.
Yes.
So
it keeps us busy.
So one of the things that we try to do is kind of not just start with a nice looking product, but we also want to incorporate like the finances. We want to incorporate that budget in there. So we're coming up with a custom made product. We have a lot of room for catering it towards the customer's needs and also their finances, because a pool's a pool, but you have pools that are Olympic size, and you have pools that are the size of a theme park with a lazy river, but you also have like the more typical residential style pools. But even within that, there's a lot of room for a range. Also, the elements that we add around it are really a big cost driver. I think nowadays,
And the material.
So I think nowadays, if you look at our work, really outside of the pool, there's more funds now than in the actual, let's say aquatic areas than in the pool and the spa.
Around the pool, in the backyard.
Around the pool.
Yeah.
So it used to be that the pool was
The most expensive item.
The most expensive
Yeah.
item because you had a little bit of concrete around it. It was very basic.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
we're incorporating everything, from when you step out into the yard until
We're coming from the
landscaping,
driveway. We want everything to flow from the front to the back.
from the front to the back. So there's a lot to incorporate, and therefore it's not just that the cost of pools is elevated, but we're incorporating landscaping, hardscaping, everything in there. That's something that's good because we understand how to do a very nice looking design, but also that caters to the needs of the customer and the budget. So that's why we're
and you know what? And sometimes, and we always, and sometimes we have customers that have really good budgets, but it doesn't make financial sense with the house.
True.
And it's our job to literally tell them, hey, dude, if you have a house that's worth, I don't know, just to give a number, $100,000. Don't put 80 grand on the house. You know what I mean? You're never gonna. You try to unless you're gonna tell me you're gonna die in this house and this is what you want because you want it. Understand that you'll never get the value back.
Not necessarily
that you
die, but mostly live there forever.
Yeah,
But that's very important, and that's kind of why we do that financial evaluation closer to the front end of the process. We don't really like that type of sales scheme where you really get somebody emotionally excited and then they're kind of like committed to that.
Yes.
Like kind of like a bait and switch. You already showed them that, and now you have to show them something that's on budget. We don't really like.
We want to be upfront. We want to be upfront with our customers. So when we're meeting the first time, sometimes even we do it over the phone. We want the customer to understand the pricing, to understand the budget. Because there's no what will you? Dreaming is great. Don't get me wrong. So maybe you can get prepared for the future. But if you want to do it now, you have to understand. Hey, these are the limits. This is the range. So that way, when you're not sticker shock whenever you see the price of everything that the customer asks for, right? So we want to be also realistic. Like I said, it's a difficult conversation to have sometimes. But it's a very necessary one. We have to have it because we want to get our goal is to get the people swimming, and what the customers want is get swimming. You know, and the only way that happens is with money. So we have to talk about money. So.
We very rarely encounter a customer that's very early on in the stage, right?
Yeah.
That they're just inquiring or
that is
they're
weird,
going to do
right?
a few years down the road. That's very rare. Most people that reach out to us are pretty much
ready to go. Yeah,
and we're and in some areas the permitting.
I think we're the ready to go company in Orange County.
That's
when they're ready to go, they call us.
That's a fair assessment. And that's one of the things that drives us, right? Is to understand that, yes, the customer is ready to go, but we don't want to put the brakes on after we show them a really nice design. And transparency is one of our core values. Exactly like Malkiel was saying, we want to make sure that we show them something that's attainable, realistic, and that they're really happy with. And our quality standards are somewhat elevated if we can brag a little bit. But we try to really, really, really stay within the customer's budget as much as we can, within reason.
And explain to them the additional costs that may come in the future. You know what I mean? Hey, when we take this to engineering, if you're close to a slope, this is what can happen. This is how much it can drive up the cost. So we try to be as upfront as we can with our customers. So, so they don't get surprises later on. And then when it goes to construction or my department, then we have surprises. We are not trying to say we're perfect. We are not a perfect company, not even close. But we try. We try to do things right, and we do try to be transparent with our customers and to be upfront with them, and not to get any surprises. But stuff happens.
And I think it also goes to, we tell our customers what we know, what we can predict, but we also try to tell them what we don't know. Certain things are outside of our control, like engineering. Typically, in construction, you don't want your contractor to be the engineer. The engineer's job is to make sure that it holds up and it's well made. When you have the contractor
supervisor
design it, then he's always got the monetary incentive to cut cost. And that's a system that even the city won't allow. They need a different engineer to stamp the plans.
That's very
so that
smart.
It's transparent and there is no conflicts of interest. So we don't have full control over everything, but with enough experience, you could kind of predict within reason what's going to happen. So that's one thing that we try to do, and that's
a lot of
what
times we
Malkiel
know
was talking.
already. You know, when we're gonna need
We
a
know.
keyway or we're gonna need
95% of the time we know,
But sometimes it does gets us off guard. You know what I mean? So caught us off guard. So something that happens too.
So we take the customer's needs, but we don't just explain it to them. We also show it to them. And that's why the 3D model is so important. We want to incorporate, their house, all their living space. There's a tree in the yard and it's stained, we incorporate it in the model. We really want to give our customers the best walkthrough experience.
Over here?
Oh yeah, maybe we could show some of our designs.
Yeah.
And we wanna go ahead and have them walk through their space because there's a lot of important things with a design. We already talked about incorporating it with the architecture of the home, but also the pools aren't going to be used during the winter time, but the water feature or the fire feature or the lights and those elements could be enjoyed from inside of the house.
Yeah, we
Year
use it in
round.
the winter time in California.
If you're brave. The spa gets used year round.
Use a heater.
Yeah, the spa here with this good weather, the spa gets used most year round, but the pool itself doesn't. But the lighting, the water features, and all of those elements, we can make a design where they're enjoyable even when you're inside of the home or in the evenings, even if you're not in the water. Let's say you get home late from work and you could still enjoy those, just the ambiance that the sound creates of a waterfall. So those are the type of things that we try to incorporate into the designs and really takes the customer's needs into consideration. Now, what's important is to understand that somebody needs to build that. The 3D picture is amazing to get on board with the customer, show them what they're paying for, what they're getting in the end. Like Malkiel said, it also allows us to show our skilled masons and all of our guys that are going to work on this, all of the fine details, the tile work, all of the finished details, where with a blueprint, you can show some of those details, but there's nothing like a three-dimensional image. Now, the important part is that we have to work with the architectural review boards of the homeowners associations. So we have to create plans that are very thorough, very in-depth. This is on the majority of our projects, we have to have this consideration. So one of the things that we do is not just a nice 3D design, we also create really detailed blueprints.
Yeah.
Because we have to get permission. We gotta make sure that we show them that our pool isn't gonna clash with the architecture of the house. We have to make sure that that new driveway that we wanna do goes in line with what the community guidelines are. And those are things that we are able to incorporate, and it really helps us to get the HOA on board, to pull the permits with the city, and also to have a really good blueprint for construction. So one of the things that we get a lot of positive feedback is about how fast our construction goes, right? All the credit in the world to our guys. Now, the other side of that is they never show up to work wondering what they're going to do. They have the 3D images, they have the blueprints, and they have all of the detailed information that they need so that whenever our projects manager do a walkthrough with them, they have all of the information that they need so that they can do their job. That's one of the keys to success in the timeline of construction.
I think one of the questions is how we personally do it. First, like we said, we go to the customer's house, we understand the customer, figure out what they need, figure out the budget, what we have to work with. Then make sure we're within the architecture of the house. We're meeting the requirements from the HOA, the requirements from the city, the engineer and all that. But after that first appointment that let's call it the design consultation appointment, then we go back and we actually have a team of designers and we have a team of plan drafters and that puts together the house and the backyard and the 3D rendering, right, with our measurements that or whoever or the designer that went to the house with their measurements and all that, that met with the customer and with their notes. This other team puts everything together and then they send us back, and then our designers design the pool. It's kind of like to streamline the process a little bit better. and to make it go a little bit faster, right? And then after the customer approves it, we sign a contract. Then we send it to our planning team, and they put together the plans, and then they go to the city. So that's really important that we actually have all that in house with our very own employees. Just because it's not important here in California. Yeah. In Texas, it's not as big or as needed because the plans, you don't need to go to the city. You need, HOAs are really simple. The city requirements, even the city, if they require a permit, they're not that hard. So we don't need as big of a team over there. But in California, we need that. Yeah. Our design and planning team, it's close to like 10 people for one, two simple tasks. Renderings and plans and permits. It's literally close to 10 people, right?
Yeah, close
to 10 people. Yeah, that just do that here in OC.
So one of the important things to understand is that the 3D software that we use to show the customer what the product's going to look like isn't necessarily catered towards doing professional architectural plans or plans that the engineers can use or that the city can approve. So that's why we have to transfer from that software to the one that we're able to use to, let's say, to an AutoCAD, where typically that's the industry standard.
That's what we use to do our plans. It's funny because we use one software for 3D rendering and a different software for construction.
So if anybody is out there listening and they could do a program that does it all,
yes, please.
That would be awesome.
I mean, Pool Studio you can do the plans.
Yeah,
but they can't be they're not as they'll never be as detailed as our AutoCAD plans. Yeah. Shout out to Emilio, he runs that department over there.
So once we have all of these things incorporated, right? Then usually about the time that we break ground, and when we're close to breaking ground, one of the most important things that we do is we actually bring life to the 3D image, right? To the renderings, because we pick the actual materials. Like, let's say that you're able to see some of it on the design, but there's nothing like holding the real material, something that you're actually going to end up using. So what we do is whenever we do an agreement with a customer, and this was another question, like, how do we decide our materials? Because it's kind of a complex thing. Well, we usually do like some type of material allowance, like a dollar amount. So when we go shopping for the material, they know what range they could be within. The majority of the time, that's more than enough to get that process going. Now, it also allows us to be able to bring life to the design. One of the things that makes us unique is that we don't necessarily have our customer do that on their own. Some customers, very few, are, interior designers or have friends or family, and they're very talented and they want to do it on their own. Some customers are just really into design, but it's very rare. The majority of people need an expert's opinion and they need our help. That's one of the things that, why we consider ourselves a design and build firm, because we're able to walk our customers through all of these things.
And I'm not talking about the regular tile and coping that it's really simple and that not other builders, but a lot of builders, you get out of your comfort zone. Let's start. I think I said that last time. Let's do different stuff. You know what I mean? That's when a real designer comes in. When your pools look different and your projects look different. That's what we want.
So
that's what you want as a customer too. I promise. You don't know that yet, but you do.
So we don't just use a traditional like square blue tile. Some of our projects
do have that. Yes,
that's what it calls for. Yeah. But we don't just stick to what's safe and what's tradition in the pool industry, because most of the customers come to us looking for a little bit more of a unique perspective on what a swimming pool and what an outdoor space should be. So we really strive to give them a little bit more than the norm, a little bit more than what they're accustomed to. So our finishes, by finishes we mean the design, how everything looks when we're done. We really, really try to go the extra mile and put all of the details in there that we can. So when you do look at our portfolio, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. We really love how everything looks. It's because we took our customer and we helped guide them through the process, but we don't necessarily do it for them, because at the end of the day, we want to help you in this process, but we also want to have a team effort and collaborate with our customers and help them achieve what they want for their space.
Yep.
So that's something that we're really good at, is walking them through that process.
Exactly. All right, guys. Danny, does that answer your question?
Danny said 100%.
Danny said 100%. Are we good?
All right, we want you guys to like and subscribe. Thank you
Please.
for following us.
That sounds so cheesy. Like and subscribe, guys. We need it.
I was literally told to say like and subscribe, but
he literally, yeah, there you go. That's Danny right there.
That's Danny.
Yeah, that sounds cheesy, but if you like the video, just like it, subscribe it if you can. YouTube, we want to promote our YouTube channel. Here you go. You heard it from the man itself. All right, guys, this was Malkiel and Jose with Jose Poolscapes. Thank you very much. We love you. We love the support. DM us on Instagram or Facebook. And that's it. Ask us if you have any questions.